Hey, it's Matt here. Just figured I'd be on because I saw some people in the chat looking for us. And we're waiting for Sarah, who's having technical difficulties. I can just sit here and chat with you all, but I can't do any of the weekly predictions because, as most of you know, I don't look at anything ahead of time. So I don't have anything to share with you. But happy to chat while we wait. We'll see what goes on here. We'll give it about 5 or 10 minutes here to see what happens, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I see Carson's on. I see there's a couple other folks on with me tonight, so thank you for joining me. I was away because when I'm down in Atlanta, I don't have good connection, so I can't join you guys. But here she is, so we're going to put her on and flip.
Man, talk about a bad connection. I was listening to you there describing the very reality I was in. I don't know if you guys have ever used StreamYard before, but sometimes it can access my video, and sometimes it says restart your whole thing. I don't know if it does that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I'm there and I see my little webcam light, and then the thing just errors out and says unable to access your video at this time. If you continue to have this problem, restart your computer's browser. And man, I'm not doing that. So that struggle of like, okay, what's open? What do I need to click? Refresh. And then the fight is on. So I feel like it's always a matter of technology, but we've made it. You and I both, Matt.
Yep.
Look at us. Look at us. We're here. It's been too long, guys.
It's been
Astrology,
a while.
It's been too long. Well, that's vacation. Are your kids back? People are back. Somewhat of a routine back, maybe?
Yeah, well, me, it's my trips to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I don't have good. Not only did I not able to do the show, but that night I spent the whole night working on work stuff, and I lost all of it. So I lost like 4 hours worth of work. So yeah, my internet's not good in the location I'm at down there.
The internet stuff, guys. Is it the end of the world as we know it? Is it solar flares? Is it the big asteroid that's coming? You know, India in their news, and I know Matt, you do a lot of international stuff. India landed on the moon and had
Russia, which I love,
countrywide
crashed into the moon 4 days before India landed.
All sorts of things. And they're finding stuff up there. And here in America, we're not getting any of the news of it. And I'm wondering if some of it isn't messing with our computers. That's crazy. It might be, though. Okay, I didn't drink enough water today, so I'm trying to drink. I drank a lot of coffee, but not a lot of water. That kind of counts, but not really. Okay, guys. Astrology and alchemy. What a crazy week. And it's September, and we've got a really crazy month. I don't know if you're seeing the headlines. Ring of fire in the sky. Eclipses. Asteroids. UFOs. UAPs. All sorts of things. All sorts of crazy things. What do you have planned for September, Matt? Anything crazy or big or exciting?
What do I have for September? It's more October. My October is crazy. I have another trip to see my family in the beginning of October, and we go to Florida in October, and we have some Halloween and ghost stuff planned for late October, early November. So it's more October that's crazy for me. September's just kind of a little bit of calm before the storm.
Ooh. Well, I don't know if the astrology is going to ease your calm before the storm, but I'm really excited. Last week, not prepared. Week before that, not even really prepared at all, kind of, not really. This week, I feel prepared. This week, I feel really prepared. Yeah. So without further ado, you guys, if you're new for the first time, if you're new, if you're like a virgin, if you're new for the first time, get a piece of paper and a pen. This is a really good opportunity for you to work with Matt and I to sharpen your own intuition, learn a little bit about astrology. Maybe you predict something amazing and then you'd be like, I wrote it down. Look, and it's fighting your own skepticism. Wouldn't you say, Matt? The key to, yeah.
Because I've done it, to be honest, because I'm more of an experimentalist. I didn't necessarily buy into all this stuff, but I started playing around with it, and yeah, you can be predictive with it.
You can be very predictive with it.
And the predictions work.
What do we have to look forward to in the week ahead? Today is Tuesday, so Wednesday, two things are going to happen. So let's go ahead and dig right in. So tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, September 6th. That's right. Two things are going to happen. The very first one, man, I'm so excited that I'm prepared because now I feel like I really am ready. And for those of you joining us in the chat room, welcome, and please feel free to correct us, please. But the first thing that's going to happen tomorrow morning, Matt, take us there, Matt. Tell us what's going to happen. The sun is going to be in Virgo, so center of our galaxy and my very favorite constellation. And then that's going to be conjunct Mercury in Virgo. Two Virgos. What do we feel about it?
And Sarah's got lots of Virgo in her chart, so she is a Virgo person. So, what I think of Virgo, I think of detail, very particular, very specific, I's dotted, T's crossed. Sun is kind of the overall energy here, and Mercury is thoughts and communication. They're aligned, so they will be very aligned. So people will be speaking from their heart, communicating from their heart, and they are going to be very specific. So this is one of those words are important. Pay attention to what is being said, because the truth will be articulated. It's going to be very, like, Virgo is very detailed. So people are going to mean what they say what they mean.
Ooh. What do
So in the macro, really quick, pay attention to any press releases or anything that comes out or any statements from anybody tomorrow, because they're going to be speaking the truth. No bullshit.
Man, I love that. No bullshit. No, I got to put that in what we share on our social media for those that follow us along. We share some of our little insights daily. And for those people doing ritual suggestions or shadow work or like divination work with it, what is the truth? What do you mean? That neurolinguistics right there. What do you mean? For those people who work with me individually in a mentorship space, I would say the median mode.
Mm-hmm.
Mean median mode. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're already talking math language there. So like, what do you mean? Not just the feelings involved with that, but the Virgo, what do you mean? And it's like, man, that's going to be such a mind conversation, a really specific one, because we're on the edge with that. I would say, man, I love Virgo things. And Matt, what a good piece of advice to pay attention. The truth is here. It's not just out there. It's here. And what is in the press tomorrow might really be true. What is it going to be? And only other one little thing happening Wednesday afternoon. Of course, if it's not the only thing, let us know. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm putting that up there. The last quarter moon. Man, we're getting some major moon shifts this month, but it's going to be in Gemini. What do you feel about Gemini? I'm kind of biased.
This is was the moon? I know it was that last week. Was the moon already in Virgo?
Mm-hmm.
So this was a Pisces cycle. So I feel this is like deep introspection and all that. So being in the last quarter now, it's really, I feel about Gemini is always that kind of crossroads. I always view it as like, which path are you going to take? And so if you do this deep introspection of what you need to change for real life, this is like decision day. So I feel like Wednesday will be where people will be called to kind of make decisions one way or the other with where they want to head for the rest of the year.
Which way? Which way? Yes, which way? If you guys are, again, following on our social media, we've been sharing a lot of really cool conferences and things. April Slaughter is one of the people we're collaborating with, and She posted some really cool labyrinth merchandise that she's working on. I think about which way. And being in a labyrinth, being in a maze, being in what Gemini is, that mutable air sign that maybe you're like trying to figure out the drama, the flighty, people calling you up here saying this, saying that, do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? What are we going to do with that information? How are we going to use it to the best of our ability? I feel like a lot of that stuff is really going to be relevant tomorrow, guys. So how do we feel about just Tuesday? Tuesday's a pretty smooth day. Not anything really crazy. Only one thing happening on Thursday.
Am I interrupting you? I'm going to text my wife here. It may get very noisy here. I just saw a car pull into my driveway. I'm not expecting anyone, but we may have the dog. If the dogs go nuts, I'm going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they could be turning around. They could be coming to deliver.
Yeah, maybe people are coming to take me away. We'll see.
Coming to take you away. Hey, I didn't make any calls. Then again, we could have been talking about something.
So if I go silent, that's what's going on. Carry on. Didn't mean to disrupt.
Okay, carry on. Carry on to Thursday. Thursday, only one thing's happening. Put one dot on your piece of paper. Your predictive piece of psychic paper. What's it going to be? This. Thursday. The moon. That's our feelings, right? In Gemini. We just talked about that. Squaring off with, oh, man. Neptune and Pisces. Anytime I see that, yuck.
Yeah.
What do you say when you see that?
You don't like Neptune and Pisces, but I like Neptune and Pisces better than I'm going to like Neptune and Aries.
That's true. That's going to be a scary time.
Yes. This whole Pluto and Aquarius, Neptune and Aries, which is looming out ahead. I think it's 2026 is not good. Anyway, so I already said Moon and Gemini is kind of emotionally, which direction do you want to go? Kind of what do I want to do with my life? And that's having conflict with Neptune is kind of dreams and deceptions, and Pisces is this kind of introspection anyway, which we're already talking that the moon's in a Pisces cycle. So I feel that this is kind of a stress, almost if you view it as a stress between reality and what somebody dreams or aspires to, and that stress between, is my dream ever going to really happen, or do I need to abandon it? So it's kind of that crossroads here as to, do I really have a chance to achieve this, or am I just fantasizing uselessly on things? So yeah,
Man,
kind of a deep, stressful, well, I think it's good, because I always feel like when people have clarity and are moving forward, that's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that it's pleasant. So probably positive, but might be a little bit of unpleasant emotional stress. Man,
and I'm thinking, guys, often if you join us weekly, I'm usually like getting those intuitive, like bing bongs of voices and sounds and songs and things that come to my mind whenever I'm hearing Matthew talk, which is a part of that dynamic that we have. And when I'm hearing you talk about the frustration and anticipation of fantasy to reality, is this going to happen? What's going to happen next? Is this uncertainty going to be able to manifest into something that I really see in the back of my mind? What song comes to your mind there? To me, it's an 80s song, and I can barely get my tongue around it. It's so I'm wondering if something's going to come to you.
I have an 80s one too, but it's a remake.
What?
It's kind of goofy.
What?
But I kind of feel like, should I stay or should I go? It's kind of like, that's the one. That's the first one that popped in my head. But there's probably a lot of movies or a lot of songs you can come up with. It's all about making a decision. Which way do you go?
It's gonna really haunt me, but I'm gonna just keep moving, because there's a song playing, and it's I think it's from I just died in your arms tonight. That song.
Oh yeah.
Must have been something you said.
I'm gonna look this up, but I'm
gonna walk away.
I actually am embarrassed that, but I think I was in college when that went out. I'm actually embarrassed that the name of that band came to me, but I think it's Cutting Crew. Yes,
Yeah.
Cutting Crew is the band.
Yeah.
The fact that I feel my opinion, my self-esteem and opinion of myself just dropped. The fact that I
should go up. Should go up. You just won 3,000 extra bonus points on Jeopardy. Final answer. Cutting Crew. That's right.
Yeah, but
that's right. Yes.
I don't like that song, but anyway.
We don't have to like it. Okay. But that's what so Cutting Crew. And that's kind of maybe an intuitive way that the universe is talking to me, because that's, you know what I mean? Make a decision. Crossroads. Sign on the dotted line. Cut it out of there. Do those things. Friday. Kind of the first. Is it the first Friday of September? No, the first day of September was a Friday. So it's technically the second Friday already. That's crazy. 2 things are going to happen, guys. So put 2 dots down. 2 dots down. That's right. 2 dots down. This is Friday. First thing that's going to happen. Bam. Bring me more Virgo. The sun, center of our galaxy, and Virgo. Whoop, whoop. Trine Jupiter. And Jupiter's making some moves this month. Currently, I believe Jupiter is retrograde. It's about ready to go direct. Jupiter's in Taurus. So how do we feel with this movement? I have the only thing written down is a great day for finance. So for those people who tune in and use this for stocks, maybe something for money.
I can see that.
What do you see?
I can see that because Taurus is Venus, and Venus can be both love and money. So again, detail. Trine is synergy. Jupiter is opportunity, and Taurus, I always feel like stable and indulgent. So I feel like this is going to be a very specific opportunity to indulge. So be careful. This is like kind of a gluttony vibe. This is kind of a, somebody showing up with a plate full of cocaine type, like what the indulgent opportunity is may not be a good thing. You may be dieting and somebody may bring some great food. You may be on the wagon and somebody buys you a bottle of wine, that kind of stuff.
On Friday?
You may have quit smoking and you run into your friend who fell off the wagon and offers you
hey
one.
man, yeah, just gotta pack. Dang it.
It's that kind of vibe I get.
We hate that kind of stuff. Hi, Carson. Hi, Dolly. Hi, those of you guys joining us from all different areas, whether it's Odyssey or Subspace or all the different places of the internet. Welcome. Whether you're a time traveler from the future downloading us, welcome. Friday. This is Friday we're talking about. So Matt's kind of giving us a little peephole, glory hole, if you will, peephole into Friday morning. That sun, I always think of the ego. I always think of what it is that's waking you up in the morning, right? And Virgo, get up. You got to do this, and this, says Virgo, the nurturing mother. And Jupiter in Taurus, that kind of big, bad, happy, when you say a big plate of cocaine. And then being stubborn about it on the back end with Taurus. So like, You know what? You may have told me not to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Yep.
Ugh. So Friday, yeah, if you're not interested.
I'm kind of hijacking this here, but I don't know what you had last week when we did this, but this just made me think of it. But do you realize like how many musicians died last week?
I know. Yeah.
I was kind of wondering what the vibe was, because man, there were a lot of artistic folks kind of.
Moon and Aries, Venus and Leo, Moon and Aries. Jupiter went retrograde in Taurus. That's what happened. It was a really big thing. Jupiter went retrograde in Taurus on Monday last week, or Monday the 4th, just yesterday. Before that, Aries vibes, Venus and Leo. I think Venus and Leo, when your fantasies are on fire, ego, pride, I don't know, maybe some of those things.
I would
A lot
say
of
Jimmy
people did die,
Buffett,
though.
Gary Wright, and the guy from Smash Mouth all like in 48 hours all died.
Bam. Yeah, that is sad, isn't it? Hey now, you're an all-star. He was on hospice too, and he was only 56. It's so young. I hate to see people kind of going through that, but at the same time, yesterday,
Yeah, I was looking up.
was
Yeah,
the lead singer.
he had like a really long list of like health things the last 8 years.
Yeah, I
Heart
don't know what was
infection,
going
liver
on.
failure, like he had like all kinds of. Yeah, he was not in good shape.
What's happening?
The other
last thing.
the other two were older. Not that it makes it any less, but the other two were in their 70s.
Right.
Smash
Which is
Mouth
still
dude
young.
Smash Mouth dude was only like a year or two older than me, so that was it always kind of freaks me out when people my age or younger
Yeah. Well,
die
it's like my
from
dad's
health
age,
things.
so I'm always like, Friday night. Friday night. Don't know what your plans are, but wherever you're at on a Friday night, it is going to be the moon waning in Cancer. So waning, guys, we're going from that full moon that we just had, the big blue moon, and it's waning down. So it's getting smaller, smaller, smaller. Those feelings getting less and less and less. But what do you have to say just about Cancer in general, Matt, in this space?
Well, I always preface this by saying that the moon transits every 2 to 3 days, so these are minor kind of tweaks in the energy that'll be going on in your life. But Cancer is the home sign for the moon. It's changeable. It's very emotional. It's deep water. So I would just say this is heavy emotions on Friday. You'll be feeling emotional stuff on Friday, but it'll be passing.
It'll be fleeting. It'll be passing. You'll wake up Saturday.
Moody people will be moody.
Extra.
Yeah.
And it's a Friday.
Not moody people will be a little moody. It's moody energy. And I mean, I always seem to piss off water signs, but Cancer is like one of my favorite signs. So I mean, no disrespect by that, but yeah,
oh.
you're known for being emotionally changeable and moody. And I think it's a fair label.
Yeah. You're happy about the tacos at the taco truck. And then you're upset about the drinks at the lemonade stand. You go from one moment to the next, and it's very present and mindful and just really intuitively connected. So that's both a good thing, but for those people who find that to be unstable, which it's not, it's just malleable. It's like water in your hand, right? Can be extra on a Friday evening with all of the stuff happening this week. So then you're going to wake up Saturday. Only one thing is happening on Saturday. So you only have to put one dot on your piece of paper. Don't have to get crazy. But that one thing is, come on, computer, do your thing. It's just a moon movement.
Oh, no. Okay, that makes sense.
With a little bit of something. The moon in Cancer sextile. Ooh. Uranus retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So that's a mouthful. But what in essence are we saying there?
Well, sextile is kind of removing obstacles too. And so Uranus and Taurus, I always say, is, it's Uranus is kind of the wild card, and I kind of view it as kind of rebellious energy, but Taurus is kind of stable and indulgent. So I always view this as rebelling by not doing something. And we already talked about Moon and Cancer being very emotionally deep. So I feel like this is like mental health day, even though it's on the weekend, energy of just a lot of emotional stuff. And I just feel like I'm not going to do something that you expect me to do just because I emotionally don't feel like it. So my advice is be ready and give people grace, but I would expect if you're counting on somebody to do something for you, is this Friday or Saturday? This
Saturday morning, yeah.
Yeah, if you're expecting somebody to do something for you on Saturday, just expect to be let down. Expect some people just aren't going to show up and follow through on things you expect them to do.
Expect should we say it? Do we dare say it? Expect the unexpected.
I wouldn't even say it that way. I would say expect to be let down.
Ooh, I'll say that. Expect the letdown.
And give people grace because they're having an emotionally hard time with something. But yeah, it's gonna be one of these that just they're not gonna have it in them and they're just not gonna show up.
I think that's a really good
This is
suggestion.
not a weekend that I would want to have a lot of people help me like move or something, because you might only have half of them show up.
Well, yeah, or have a big, birthday bash party, or
You too.
people are gonna flop out on you.
Yep.
And then it's gonna be emotional. The people who are like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to not come. I just was having too much going on. I didn't think I could make it. Now I feel extra bad. Whoa.
I know.
Careful,
I
careful,
agree with
careful.
those memes on like the mental health stuff that, you are entitled to, choose how to expend your energy. And if you need to stay home and, not engage, by all means, do that for your own mental health. And I feel there's going to be a lot of that going on, which is why I give these people some grace and, not give them a hard time. There's probably a good reason why they're not flaking out. There's a good reason why they're not showing up.
Grace. I love that, because the suggestions on how to use this, how to alchemy apply to the change of what you know to be present that day in the ether, knowing that this is going to be kind of the buzz, that give yourself grace, give other people grace. What does that look like? What does that mean? That might mean that when you feel the crevices of your mouth wanting to go down and your knuckles getting tight, that you take a deep breath and you're spelling out the word grace or felony or like whatever it is that reminds you not to do the thing, and take some time. For some people, it's take some space. For some people, it's take a breath. For some people, it's rest, check out, dissociate. What a good day to be able to do that, Saturday.
I am still working on this. So I'm not skilled at this, but I have somebody that I work with that uses this phrase a lot, and I've really kind of adopted, and I think it's really good. And that is, and it's not original to them, but I just like that they use it a lot. And that is assume positive intent. So in all these things, just with other people, assume that they had good intentions, not, don't feed into this. You did this because you're a mean, bad person and you wanted to just assume that they had good intentions, and for whatever reason, things didn't work out. And honestly, I think in general, that's a path to be in a much better mental state overall for all people involved. But to be honest, it's, I still work on it. I don't always do it, but I think it's good.
It is hard. But I will say, whenever I catch myself in a snag or a net of emotional bullshit, it's usually because of an assumption that the intent was ill. And man, you can't do that. You can't go within someone's mind or heart and try and prove this or that. You have to just. So I like that. I think that's really good advice. Assume positive intent. So you guys do that this Saturday, this weekend, as we go into it.
So I would say in general, and maybe I'm
okay.
Maybe I'm being too Pollyanna here, but I think in general, most people don't do things out of malice. A lot of times it's out of obliviousness. They just weren't thinking at all. What was very important to you was not on their radar, and then that comes across, and then it escalates. People get mad, and then it all escalates when it was it was not done intentionally to be mean. It was just they just weren't thinking, or they just weren't thinking about something that was important to you.
I think that there was I hate to reference TikTok, but I will. That there was a man, not even a man, a young teenager who was on TikTok, and he was being interviewed by like a younger Black guy, and they were talking, and somebody just walked across the screen, and the guy was like, man, that was pretty rude. And he's like, nah, man, that's all right. He just was totally oblivious to our being here and there. And like, it was one of those like moments where this person just spewed out a really wise, deeply connected thing about how most people just aren't paying attention. Mm-hmm. It's not that they don't give a fuck. They just aren't paying attention. They're not present. They're focused on what they're doing. And so they're not there to ruin your day. Yeah. Dolly, unprepared, she says. I have a built-in regulator called fibromyalgia. Reading some of the chat, you guys. I love seeing how people go back and forth kind of discussing how they think it's going to affect them and what things to be prepared for. Sunday. We only have one thing. Boom. So for those joining us in the chat room, you get to see it, to write it down on your little thingy-mabobber. Sunday. This is just a moon. It's just a moon movement, so not crazy, but it is in Leo, waning in Leo. Anything in Leo, I think, is going to be a ripple from last week. Fire. What do you think of when you think of the Leo sign specifically in
But
emotions?
it's funny because I have a disproportionate amount of important people in my life, and yeah, I've even just learned of some other people's birthdays recently, and I'm like, man, Leos and Cancers. Just there's something about July and August. I just attract people that are born in those 2 months.
Leo's like you, huh?
So that being said, Leo is. I don't want to offend them, but I don't think they're going to care one way or the other because Leo is ego. I always think of like Trump, even though, well, I guess he's a Leo rising. So
Right.
if folks don't know, that's like where what sign the sun was in, like, at the kind of the zero. I don't know how to describe it. It's like 9 o'clock. You're picturing like a clock, and you have the 12 signs. Whatever's at like 9 o'clock at the time of your birth is your rising sign, and that is the impression you give to people. So it might not be your true sign, but it's kind of what people kind of give off. So he's a Leo rising. I'm actually a Leo rising, even though I don't feel I have much in common with him. But so Leo is ego. So Leo's gonna care about how they're perceived. Leo's gonna care about how they're treated. There's gonna be a certain amount of kind of wanting spotlight and it's weird because I don't want to say selfishness because they're not necessarily, they're kind of actually known to be very generous, but they're very concerned with how they are viewed. And so since this is the moon energy in this, everybody's influenced by this. So we're going to be moving from this Cancer emotional depth into kind of a very kind of what's in it for me emotional energy. So that's it.
I want to add that because I think for anyone on a Sunday morning,
I honestly think, you think in all your interactions with people in general, you should be basically evenly distributed across the 12. I got to say, for me, it's disproportionate about Cancers and Leos. And if I meet somebody and then find out later that they're born in January or August or July or August, it's just, yeah, it's weird.
You're like, of course you are. For me, it's
my wife, Leo.
I have a few.
My best friend through college, Leo. I think to the person, every relationship when I found out backwards, all Leos. I have a lot of good friends that are Cancers. It's just very strange.
I tend to really get along with fire signs. I tend to usually like really enjoy their company as like best friends and cohorts and doing things like that. And then I tend to have crushes on or like really enjoy earth signs because I feel like they're super smart and cold and emotionless and practical. And the Virgo in me just really finds earth signs to be well grounded and they must have their shit together. I of course learned different because I myself am an earth sign and we don't have our shit together. It might look like we do, but we don't. So trying to figure that out has been kind of fun. I give every sign a chance, by the way, for friends absolutely. And all that. So, but it is a good profiling tool. So the moon waning in Leo, guys, on Sunday, listen to your heart, but that what's in it for me energy of, your heart. People are going to be maybe whispering that to themselves too. So just keep that in mind for whatever energy you're getting back, receptive or otherwise. Maybe you're not getting anything. Maybe you're not getting what you want. Welcome, Missy. So you guys, Monday, I have to double check. Is this the only thing happening on Monday? It is. Monday and Tuesday only have one dot. So it's kind of an efficient, focused, not too crazy. You're able to really kind of hone into the signs and what's going on each day. Monday.
We usually double check with us aren't in chat tonight. So we're just going to go with what we got.
We're flying by the seat of our pants. Usually we have a bunch of amateur and professional astrologers joining us in the chat that chime in on all the little extras. And I know that this week is back to school week, Labor Day week, holiday. Yeah. And I don't. Dolly says, if I don't have my stuff together, there's no hope for the rest of us. There is no hope for the rest of us. It's okay. So Monday. You heard it. The moon waning, still getting smaller, probably be a fingernail by that time. We'll be in Leo, that constellation up there we were just talking about. Conjunct Venus. Venus isn't retrograde, is it? I thought Venus went direct.
Let me check.
I thought it went direct yesterday. Let us all just see that. I had to say it, didn't I?
Usually use is working.
Is it?
I said if the app I usually use is working.
I think it
and
went.
I can find it because I rearranged all my stuff.
I think Venus went direct on Sunday the 3rd. So I'm gonna correct myself. See, look it. We can do hard things.
Why am I not seeing it?
I'm gonna
keep chatting. I'm gonna keep.
Yeah, he's gonna double check. Matt's gonna double check me on that one. The difference between, of course, retrograde or not would be that you don't see it in the sky, and that kind of residual energy that it gives off is really important. You know, our ancestors going out and seeing something in the sky or not seeing something in the sky gives you an indication of whether you're going or not going the right way. You know, where's the North Star? Well, it should be right. Oh, crap. Where are we going? To not know where you're going, especially in an we've already indicated some crossroads, some decision making, more towards, you know, the end of the week than the weekend. The weekend will be that kind of rest period. And then Monday, starting off the week strong, first full week of September without a holiday, boom, the moon in Leo waning, that ego waning, fire waning, hard times. Whoa. Conjunct Venus. And I do think it's direct in Leo. So 2 Leos, two fire places. When you think of that, Matt, fire. I'm
just looking really quick here. It does not say. Oh, hang on. This is Monday.
I will bet $82.
So the 11th. Yeah, it's not showing it's in retrograde. It's regular.
Yes. Look at this. I'm getting better, guys. Had you joined us 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known retrograde from retrofoot. And now I feel like
this is emotional again, kind of ego, and this is, you know, Venus. Money or romance. I always think romance is more interesting than money to talk about in these things, but this is all kind of a very self-centered type in that emotional space, which will translate and combine with the romantic space, people are going to be very in tuned on their own needs, and are they basically getting what they want out of relationships. And so people may speak up to that. So if you're not holding your end of the bargain, you may hear about it on Monday.
End of
if somebody calls you out on stuff and you're not happy on your ends, it's time you can speak up.
Yeah. Okay. So now that you mentioned that, let me just mention this.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. That's going to be on Monday.
Yeah. Probably a good day to be a divorce attorney on Monday.
Say it ain't so. Already got a lot of that going on.
Or
Tuesday.
Or a couples counselor or anything along those lines.
Love your dogs. Someone's here, Father. Yeah, someone is here.
My wife's home with my son.
No, I love it. Okay. Tuesday, it's going to be a full week from today. We will have gone full all the way around 7 days. And this is what is happening. Boop. The moon will be waning in Leo. Still just a sliver. That's not true, is it? Am I saying the right thing? Let me go back and double check.
I want to clarify for Carson. I think Sarah was doing astrology 10 years ago, but we weren't doing this show 10 years ago. I think we're in our third year
of doing this. Yes.
Yeah, we started April of 21.
How long have you and I been doing astrology research and collaboration?
Well, our work together has increased with time, but I think I reached out and connected with you maybe around like 14 or 15. So it might have been like 10 years ago, but I would say probably around, it was before COVID. So I'd say 2019-ish.
Yeah. And then how long have you been doing
together.
Sunday Night Dead?
Yeah. I had you a couple times on Sunday Night Dead. That was
Sunday
before that show ran from, I'd say, 13 to like 16. So somewhere in there that we started working together. And then I relaunched it in like 2020. And so, yeah, but we started working before that. So maybe like 2019. So yeah, there you go. A little bit of our history.
Really, yeah. I think about my very first like podcast I did on my own in the paranormal was in 2009 with Live Paranormal. And I was doing video every Sunday night and I really enjoyed it. And then kind of started doing podcasts with other people. And then Dave Schrader, Darkness Radio, and Coast to Coast, and just bouncing around. And I think being able to do this show has been a learning opportunity for me, but as well as other people who've joined us throughout the years, just telling us like, man, I didn't really use astrology in my journaling or in my meditation or in my health and wellness or in my any of that until watching your show. And I think, oh, I love that. I love that our show kind of helps like integrate a little bit of how to use these tools, because there's a lot of people in the paranormal and spiritual and metaphysical and stuff. And we talk about astrology and ooh, but like you can use it. It can really be helpful. So anyway.
Well, I'll share before we get to our last one here, just because I think it's kind of cool. So
yeah.
So I fell into the radio show. The co-host with George Lopez was based in North Carolina, and they found our team in North Carolina. And so I was approached if I wanted to be on the show. And it just so happened at the same time, I was doing this project for Trans-Allegheny, which I will say I would love to do this for other places if anyone's interested, but they had evidence reports. And I took all the evidence reports and did a breakdown of what people were reporting, whether here's the thing is you don't know whether it was valid or not, and it doesn't necessarily even need to be paranormal. It could be that there is some, a trick of the light. It could be, but I basically mapped out what people were seeing in different areas at different times and kind of just started breaking out as to kind of a analysis of the activity in the asylum. Those folks loved that. So then they had me on to do a show kind of going into the details of that, which then led to them saying, hey, do you want to do a show? So then I did a show. And so I was looking for things to do for the show. So I was doing something at South Pittsburgh. And at that time in the break room, they had a wall full of pictures of people that were at like events at South Pittsburgh. And I wrote all their names down, which Sarah was one of them there, and reached out to as many people on that wall as possible to see if they wanted to work with me on the show, which Sarah was one of the most responsive, and we started working together. And that's kind of how this whole thing led to us doing this now.
That's crazy.
That was like years ago. Yeah. But yeah, it was all a matter of me jotting down names on a wall and just reaching out to folks. And that's how we connected.
And South Pittsburgh too, I think of all the locations, like that's a little tiny town in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And, knowing that you are so heavily integrated in some of the world's most terrifying places, like Trans-Allegheny, some of your evidence from that location, like there's some really wild stuff. And some of the things that he shares on his Sunday Night Dead, guys, if you've not tuned into that, the evidence things,
we're doing South Pittsburgh next.
Are you really?
What I'm doing, just so you guys know, I have a whole bunch of like live videos I did that now I'm just kind of as a catalog. I've decided I've kind of shifted because it seems to be what people have found the most interesting and I'm liking it the most. I'm just going through these things. And so South Pittsburgh, and I'm just doing it chronologically. So South Pittsburgh's next. But then after that, I have hours and hours of video, but it requires me to actually kind of edit it. So we'll go back through all of that. But what we did, and then we'll have a little bit of a clip of it on Sunday. But what we did was actually pretty cool. We did this experiment. I only have maybe about 15 minutes for the show next week. But we did this whole day-long thing where we had we pretended that I was a first-time doctor. Like it was my first day. And there was a robbery downtown. and we thought the robbers were going to come and raid the pharmacy at South Pittsburgh. So there was that pharmacy wing. So we went around the whole place evacuating people and getting them into this spot. And we had the spirit. I didn't have the Phasma box at that time. I wish I would have, because I get much better results with that. But we had the spirit box with the radio going throughout all of it. And we did a whole bunch of experiments. And so we've had some pretty weird stuff. And some of it will come through on Sunday. So if you want to check that out. And Dolly says, my history never ceases to amaze me. You know, I will say one thing, and this has served me well. Opportunities pop up. And I'm always like, sure, why not? And I'll just try it. That's why like people go like, what are your like I've never really had like these like huge goals, like just things fall across.
Yes.
And I'll be like, sure, I'll try it. And some things work out and some things crash and burn. And so it's just interesting how life evolves from this. And so that's, yeah.
Well, and you're such a good risk taker. I think you do it with ease. And so that ability to be open to opportunity and see it for just an openness rather than be hesitant. Matt does some big stuff in business and in like private spaces too. So, I mean, I think when thinking of quadruplets and family life, I think of you and like the paranormal doing trans-Allegheny and like interactions, role playing, like real interesting techniques that you don't see a lot of, like throw a brick at your head. Just, you know what I mean? It's really interesting. So anyway,
I'll do a plug. I put this on my social media and didn't hear much. I'll start plugging it on the shows. I want to expand these experiments I'm doing with that program. So, you know, obviously I have limited ability to travel around the country, but if folks have locations that they think it would be worth doing these experiments in, whether public or private, I really do want to build. And that's partially why I'm sharing it, because I've gotten weird enough results that, and it's a little bit different than a lot of the stuff I'm seeing out there. And again, it's different. I did get a little cynical on something, like I'm not doing this for shows or like I'm actually doing this to try to build a body of work that, you know, maybe somebody else can run with later.
Yeah.
Kind of that
always.
Whole, you know, I'm much more of a, you know, I guess it's my science background. I want to do more research stuff than hype stuff. But anyway, I know I totally hijacked this and we're done.
No, it's perfect timing because we're in the last 5 minutes of the show.
We have one day yet that I hijacked this before we got to.
Well, right. And then it just leaves us to next Tuesday. And it's only one small thing that's happening, but it is another Earth kind of space where the moon is waning in Leo. So it's that final stretch of the moon being a small little sliver in the constellation of Leo. And it's squaring off with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Right. It's a good Tuesday energy. But what do you think is the primary thing going on here?
Square is conflict. And so I always feel like, again, Uranus is rebelling by not doing. So I view this one as I really don't want to do something, but the emotional ego part of Leo is, how's that going to make me look if I don't do it? So unlike Saturday, where you might be let down because people need the mental health day, this will be one of these, well, I really don't want to go do this, but how's that going to make me look? What are they going to think about me? And that's the pressure on Tuesday. Maybe even a little bit of regret from Saturday of things maybe you didn't do, and now worrying about how people are going to think, hey, I ended up, you know, not showing up to help them move. I wonder what people are going to think about me. It's that kind of tension.
I like that you use that because that's fire and earth. We have kind of this pull from the earth, water, air, fire spectrum. If I'm looking at it like this, we've got our earth, our Taurus over here, and we've got our Leo over here. So thinking and doing what I should have done, kind of this tension pulling between the two here that we're going to see showing up. So, and that's Tuesday.
She got weird things when she hit my link. So I need to figure out which link.
Yeah, which link? Let us know so that we can make sure all of those links work. And we want to put in there, if you guys want, don't forget, Matt does amazing readings, astrological readings, birth chart readings. You can find more about that at mslosure@yahoo.com.
Yeah, just email me. That's easiest. I used to have sites up and stuff, and I found out they were more trouble than they were worth. So I just contacted you directly.
I've got some of those issues as well. And you guys,
I had Bluehost. I just got to say, I don't have a very happy thing with Bluehost. Shook me down for like $1,000 recently. I'm not happy with them.
What? Okay, yeah. Look at him. I love when you get angry. I love when you get angry because it's smart.
Yeah.
You guys, you can check out Paranormal Sarah, Autumn Moon Astrology. You can check out the Paranormal Channel, Odyssey Radio, Subspace Radio, all of the locations that you would normally go online to download, listen, and share your favorite podcast. You will likely be able to search the Astrology and Alchemy show and download it there. So please do share it with your friends. Join us every Tuesday. We're here. School's back in session. So we are hopefully going to be doing a little bit better about seeing you every Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, let us know, right? Matt, am I forgetting anything?
Nope. And we still are, life happens, and life happens to both of us so that's why we're behind on some things, but we still have lots of ideas. So there'll be more
all
stuff
the time.
funny.
All the time. And we
have more, we have more ideas and projects than we do time and ability to execute them, but we'll eventually get them out.
We will.
I will say too, I'm just going to call out because this is some of the astrology things. We have me who's just sure, why not? And I'll jump in with it half baked. And that's your Virgo energy of wanting all the I's dotted and T's crossed. It's a good.
If it's not perfect, I won't do it.
There's a little creative tension on when to pull the trigger on stuff because I'm like, go and figure it out on the fly. And you like. And
I have to have plan B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Yep.
Yeah. When are we going to launch it? Do we know when, how, who? Do we have somebody to do that with?
And it's good because, like I said, it's not that it works well. I'm not saying that the way I do it works well. It's just I'm.
Yeah, there's 20 ways to skin a cat, and we're just all over here just getting it done. But you guys, be sure and share us on social media. That's a huge help. Someone shared in the chat room. How can they help support us? We would just love it if you don't have any interest in getting a reading or learning more about it in that way, then just sharing the links and letting other people know that might be interested in astrology, alchemy, or divination know that they can tune in here for free. You can listen and have fun with us and share things in the chat. Give us your questions. We love hearing from you. And that's absolutely it, guys. We hope to see you next Tuesday and to see you regularly. Dolly, Carson, all you guys. We'll see you here next Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. I got to get to the behind the video here and go. All right. Good night, everybody.